we talk about the character, it's my character different. It's I never done before because people know this audience know.
Surfaced about Tony Jaa's alleged life imprisonment sentence.
It's my character Decha. He's very fast and very powerful inside.
What truly happened? The more you dig into the case, the crazier it gets. So before you even think about clicking away, stick around because by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly how one of the most beloved action stars in the world ended up in a situation this extreme. Tony Jaa's real legal battles. Tony Jaa got caught in a nasty battle with Sahamunkhul Film International, the company that launched his career but also tried to control every move he made. And if there's one thing that can mess up an action star's career just as much as an injury, it's a bad contract. So here's the deal. Back in 2003, when Tony Jaa was just starting to blow up, he signed a 10-year contract with Sahamunkhul Film. That might sound normal, but the problem was the fine print. This contract wasn't just strict, it was suffocating. It meant he couldn't work on anything outside the company without their approval. And guess how much they were paying him? $1,600 a month. You heard that right. Just imagine starring in global hits like Ong-Bak and still getting paid less than some office workers. Meanwhile, the studio was making millions off his movies, and he was stuck in a deal that made it nearly impossible to grow his career outside of Thailand. Now, at first, Jaa probably didn't think much of it. After all, Sahamunkhul had made him a star. But as his international fame skyrocketed, things started to feel more and more restrictive. Directors from Hollywood, Hong Kong, and China wanted to work with him, but every single time, Sahamunkhul blocked it. They wouldn't let him accept offers, and they wouldn't even negotiate. Basically, they kept him on a leash, saying, "You work for us and only us." It was frustrating, to say the least. Tony Jaa was once hailed as the next big action superstar, the man who put Muay Thai on the map in Hollywood. But now, he's making headlines for something completely different, a life sentence in prison. How does someone go from performing gravity-defying stunts and smashing box office records to spending the rest of his life behind bars? What did he do? Who turned against him? And could he have avoided this shocking fate? Stay with me, because the truth behind Tony Jaa's imprisonment is bizarre. Then came the real drama. When his 10-year contract was nearing its end in 2013, Jaa thought he was finally free. But Sahamunkhul had other plans. They claimed they had already renewed his contract for another 10 years until 2003. And here's where it gets shady. The company sent the renewal notice not to Jaa, but to his estranged sister in Surin, a completely different part of Thailand. And guess what? She signed it. Jaa never agreed to any of this, but suddenly, he was being told he was still under contract for another decade. If that sounds insane, it's because it is. At this point, Jaa had had enough. He called the whole thing business slavery and lawyered up. His team argued that the contract was already over in 2013 and that the renewal was completely invalid. It was a full-blown legal battle, and just when you thought it couldn't get messier, in walks Fast and Furious 7. Landing a role in Furious 7 was a huge deal for Jaa. It was his Hollywood debut, a chance to finally break free from being just a Thai action star. But Sahamunkhul wasn't having it. They claimed he had no right to take the job, held a press conference just to call him out, and then sued him, Universal Pictures, and United International Pictures for $49 million. Their argument? They had spent a fortune making Jaa a star, and now that he was cashing in, they wanted their cut. They also threw in some extra 7.5% interest because, why not? Now, lawsuits like this usually take years to resolve, but Sahamongkol wasn't just suing, they were actively trying to block his work. In 2015, they even got a court order to stop Furious 7 from being released in Thailand. Can you imagine that? The movie was a global blockbuster, but in Jaa's own country, it was getting legally stalled because of a contract dispute. Talk about a nightmare, and it didn't stop there. The lawsuit also put Skin Trade, his action movie with Dolph Lundgren, and SPL2, A Time for Consequences, in jeopardy. Another film, A Man Will Rise, got completely derailed and remains unfinished to this day. On top of that, his 2013 film Tom Yum Goong 2 flopped hard at the box office, partly because Jaa refused to promote it due to all the legal drama. So not only was his Hollywood career in danger, but his local projects were also suffering. It was a lose-lose situation. But just when things were looking bleak, something unexpected happened. In July 2015, Sahamongkol suddenly dropped their $50 million lawsuit. No one knows exactly what went on behind the scenes, but Jaa later released a statement saying, "With the assistance of all of the relevant parties, Sahamongkol Film and I were able to settle our differences. We have therefore decided to end all legal actions against one another." Basically, some kind of deal was made, and just like that, he was free. Now, while all this legal mess never actually led to jail time, it definitely put a huge dent in Jaa's career. These were the years when he should have been riding the momentum of Ong-Bak and The Protector, working on bigger international projects, and solidifying himself as one of the top martial arts stars of his generation. Instead, he was stuck fighting lawsuits and dealing with contract restrictions. By the time everything was settled, he had lost years of potential work. And in an industry where timing is everything, that's a huge setback. Thankfully, after everything, Jaa was able to move on. Since then, he's worked on international films, taken on bigger roles, and finally gotten the kind of career freedom he fought so hard for. But his story is a cautionary tale, one that shows just how dangerous these long-term contracts can be for rising stars. It's a reminder that in the entertainment industry, the biggest battles don't always happen on screen. They happen behind closed doors, in legal offices, and over contracts that can make or break a career. And if there's one thing to learn from Jaa's ordeal, it's this: no matter how talented you are, the wrong deal can turn your dream job into a nightmare. The real challenges Tony Jaa has faced. Tony Jaa's rise to fame might look like a dream come true on the surface, but if you really dig into his story, it's more like a roller coaster, one with steep drops, unexpected twists, and moments where you wonder if he'll ever get back on track. You'd think being a martial arts superstar would mean endless opportunities and financial success, but for Tony Jaa, it was the opposite. His biggest battles weren't in front of the camera. They were behind the scenes, and they almost cost him everything. It all started when the massive success of Ong-Bak gave him the confidence to take on a bold new challenge, directing Ong-Bak 2. And honestly, who could blame him? He had already proven himself as one of the most electrifying action stars of his generation, and stepping into the director's chair seemed like the next logical step. But things spiraled out of control almost immediately. The original budget was set at 100 million baht, which was ambitious but manageable. Then the costs started climbing, and before anyone knew it, the movie was bleeding money. By the time production dragged on into its second year, reports claimed the budget had ballooned past 300 million baht. And the worst part? Jaa was stuck right in the middle of it all. Not only was he directing, starring, and choreographing the action scenes, but he was also running his own film company, Iyara Film. That's a ridiculous amount of responsibility for one person, and it quickly became clear that it was just too much to handle. It got so bad that even people inside the production started realizing Jaa was drowning. Akarapol Jo Takara Thana Prasert, whose family ran Sahamangkol, the studio backing the film, said Jaa was under so much pressure that he needed time off just to figure out the martial arts sequences for the film's climax. And this wasn't some small delay. This was a full-blown production meltdown. Between the spiraling costs and Jaa's struggle to balance everything, the entire project was hanging by a thread. And then, out of nowhere, Jaa just disappeared. This wasn't some dramatic Hollywood-style exit with press conferences and official statements. One day in June 2008, Jaa was on set. The next, he was gone. No one could reach him. His phone was off. The production was left in chaos. And naturally, the rumors started flying. Was he injured? Kidnapped? Did he have a breakdown? Nobody knew. His mentor, Pana Ritikrai, even went searching for him in meditation caves, thinking maybe he had gone off the grid to clear his head. But for weeks, there was no sign of him. The entire industry was confused, and his sudden disappearance only added to the mess Ong-Bak 2 was already in. Eventually, a Thai newspaper tracked him down. He wasn't hurt. He wasn't kidnapped. He wasn't hiding out in some secret location, plotting his next move. He was in what was described as a safe house, looking completely exhausted and, honestly, defeated. As it turned out, he had personally paid for some of the production costs out of his own pocket. And now he was broke. He couldn't even pay his mortgage. His electricity had been cut off. It was a complete financial disaster. And it wasn't just affecting his career. It was affecting his real life in ways that no one outside the industry had really understood. But even after he resurfaced and tried to push forward, things didn't get any easier. Sahamangkol took over the film, and Prachya Pinkeo, the director of the first Ong-Bak, stepped in to finish the project. To make matters worse, the studio decided to split Ong-Bak 2 into two films, Ong-Bak 2 and Ong-Bak 3, as a way to recover their investment. The problem? That decision ruined the flow of the story, making both films feel disjointed and incomplete. And for Jaa, it was a huge creative loss. This was supposed to be his passion project, his big directorial debut, and now it was completely out of his hands. At that point, the pressure was unbearable. He had been through financial ruin, industry politics, and an exhausting production process that had left him drained in every possible way. So in May 2010, he made a drastic decision. He left the film industry entirely and became a Buddhist monk. That's right. He walked away from it all, choosing peace and spiritual reflection over the chaos that had taken over his life. It was a shocking move, but honestly, who could blame him? After everything he had been through, he needed an escape. Of course, he didn't stay in the monastery forever. Eventually, he returned to acting. But even then, his struggles weren't over. His contract with Sahamangkol was still holding him back, limiting his opportunities and making it nearly impossible for him to take advantage of his global fame. And while he's still a legend in the martial arts world, his story is also a reminder that success isn't always as glamorous as it seems. Tony Jaa spent years training his body to become one of the most dangerous fighters in Hollywood. But now, he's fighting for something else: his life. How did the star of Ong-Bak and The Protector end up allegedly serving a life sentence? What went wrong for a man who was once on top of the world? Was he caught in the wrong place at the wrong time? Or was there something from his past that finally caught up with him? Stick around, because when you hear the real story of Tony Jaa's downfall, you'll never look at his movies the same way again. Tony Jaa's alleged imprisonment. If you've scrolled through social media lately, you might have come across posts claiming that the legendary Ong-Bak star is serving a life sentence in prison. Sounds crazy, right? But for a lot of people who saw those posts, it was enough to cause some serious confusion. And honestly, in today's world, where misinformation spreads faster than the truth, it's not surprising. But let's set the record straight. Tony Jaa is not in prison, has never been in prison, and is definitely not serving a life sentence. So, where did this bizarre rumor even come from? Well, like a lot of celebrity rumors, this one started with a complete misunderstanding. Basically, people got Tony Jaa's movie roles mixed up with his real life. It all seems to trace back to Killzone 2, also known as SPL2, A Time for Consequences, a 2015 film where Jaa played a prison guard. The plot? It's about an undercover cop who gets caught, double-crossed, and thrown into a Thai prison under a false identity. Somehow, people twisted that storyline into claims that Tony Jaa himself was locked up. And the rumors didn't stop there. When Tony Jaa took a step back from the spotlight for a while, it only fueled more speculation. At one point, he even became a Buddhist monk. But here's the thing, spending time as a monk is a common tradition in Thailand. It wasn't some drastic life change, and it definitely wasn't because he was trying to escape from anything. It's just something that a lot of Thai men do at some point in their lives. But, of course, the internet being the internet, people started whispering, did he quit acting for good? Is he hiding from something? Before long, those whispers snowballed into full-blown rumors about him leaving the entertainment industry altogether. And somehow that got twisted into, he must be in prison. See how ridiculous that is? Now, if you take just 2 minutes to fact-check, you'll see there's absolutely no proof of Tony Jaa ever serving any prison time. Nothing. No news articles, no reports from trusted sources. Nothing at all. His IMDb page, still full of new projects. Major news outlets, talking about his upcoming films, not any supposed jail sentence. If he were actually serving a life sentence, don't you think that would be front-page news? Instead, what we do have on record is the fact that Tony Jaa has had some legal troubles in the past, but not the kind that land you in jail. And let's not forget his personal life. Tony Jaa isn't just thriving in his career, his family life is solid too. He's been married to his longtime girlfriend, Piarat Chotiwatananont, since 2012, and they have 2 daughters together. If you follow him on social media, you'll see that he's living a completely normal and free life, picking and choosing his projects, spending time with his family, and staying active in the martial arts world. Honestly, if there's anything to take away from this whole situation, it's that people will believe anything if it's shared enough times. Tony Jaa prison rumor is a perfect example of how easily movie plots can get mixed up with real life. And let's be real, if you're an action star known for playing intense, dramatic roles, there's always going to be someone who thinks the on-screen drama is real. But the truth is, Tony Jaa isn't sitting in a cell somewhere. He's out there doing what he does best, staying at the top of the martial arts world, and proving, once again, why he's one of the most iconic action stars of all time. Tony Jaa's current projects and activities. Tony Jaa is far from slowing down. If anything, he's proving that he's still one of the biggest names in action cinema. In 2023, He was part of The Expendables 4, playing Decha. Because, of course, when you're talking about an explosive, star-studded action franchise, how do you not include Tony Jaa? And let's talk about Striking Rescue, his Chinese martial arts film where he plays Ong-Bak, a Muay Thai expert, on a brutal revenge mission after his wife and daughter are murdered. Now, if that doesn't scream classic Tony Jaa, what does? This film was a huge moment for him because it marked his return as a lead in martial arts cinema after spending the last few years in more supporting roles. Not that he didn't shine in those too. He played Jack Jaa in Detective Chinatown 3 in 2021 and took on the role of Hunter in Monster Hunter in 2020, proving that even in Hollywood blockbusters, he knows how to make an impact. But if you think he's just going to sit back and enjoy the success of his past projects, think again. His upcoming films show that he's still pushing the boundaries of action cinema. The most exciting one? A massive Muay Thai film trilogy. And this isn't just any trilogy, it's backed by Stars Collective and Thailand's Film Odyssey Company Ludud. And Jaa isn't just acting in it, he's also stepping into an executive producer role. That's right, he's not just starring in the action, he's helping shape the entire project. He'll be playing Surya, a young, gifted fighter who somehow travels back in time to the Ayutthaya period. Now, can we just take a second to appreciate how cool that sounds? A Muay Thai time travel story. It's like Jaa is giving us something fresh, while still keeping his signature high-impact action. And let's be real, who else but Tony Jaa could make that work? But here's the thing, Jaa isn't just all about movies. He knows that in today's world, staying connected with fans is just as important as making great films. And that's why he's built a strong social media presence, especially on YouTube. If anyone still doubts his relevance, they should probably sit back, watch his latest work, and then try saying that again. Because if there's one thing Jaa has always done, it's proving people wrong, with a roundhouse kick if necessary. With this, we have come to the end of this video. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, do well to like, comment, and subscribe for more content. To enjoy more thrilling stories, click now on the following video that pops up on your screen.